What's going on, guys? This is Sir Clarence with Ultra Black News, and today we have the honor and privilege of interviewing the Craft Beer Connoisseur. Chris, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Long time no chat. We go way back, Tampa open mic days. So proud of what you're doing, and thank you for having me.
Well, hey, I'm always appreciative of you family. So, how we going to do with this? Like with my other things, I normally kick off with the intro. So you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So Craft Beer Chris has been making major moves in the spirited industry as of now and in the future going forward, doing major things like breaking down stereotypes within the craft beer industry and making moves to also disrupt the industry as well that has been majorly ran by people who do not look like us. But Chris, we welcome you in today. So is there anything else that I want to add to the intro or you want to add to throw your flavor on?
Well, I appreciate the nice intro. Again, my name is Chris, aka Craft Beer Chris, or Thee Craft Beer Connoisseur. Been in the game for about 6-7 years now, just exploring different types of craft beer and enjoying it, all authentic with the process. So I got into craft beer, of course, a person who didn't drink beer, and then here I am years later leading in the forefront of diversity and change within the beer community. Have a collective that I started with a few women here in the city of Atlanta, Craft Women Connect, and then also worked on some collaboration beers this year. Just put out our 5th collaboration release just this year. So craft beer has done a lot for me besides adding on the extra pounds to my belly.
Yeah. Hey, look, we call that happiness when you add it on. That's all I'm gonna say with that. So let me ask you this: in terms of the craft beer industry, what does that scene typically look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, being that you jumped in, not really drinking beer before, but then getting into it and seeing kind of like a different world, sort of say. What is that like?
Well, to be honest with you, when I got into the industry, of course, it's even still now, it's still mostly, white male led. But when I was getting into craft beer, it wasn't a lot of people who look like me. That's Black people, women, people who are part of LGBTQ community. So there's a lot of different things that, just weren't there when I came into the, craft beer space. But at the end of the day, it's all about great beer and good beer. Who's putting out what? A lot of breweries out here, as Black Americans don't usually drink a lot of beer or craft beer in general, and craft beer in particular, because it's not in our communities. It's not something we grow up with. A lot of us don't come from ownership or, even see those kind of things. So with that being said, there's things in the industry that are present because it's just naturally how it is. A lot of these people who are opening up breweries start them in, with their college friends or some, guys in their backyard and stuff. So it comes from that type of space and stuff. But one thing I think is great about it, which probably attracted me the most to it, even with it not being a community that totally looks like me, is community in general. Craft beer is very community based. That's why they are the backyard breweries or your local brewery. That's why it's important to support them, because they are in your community and they should as well be contributing to the community as well. So Atlanta, since I've been here, I've seen some great things with the breweries here and what they do for the community and how they show up, which is a beautiful thing. So while it doesn't and hasn't always looked like us, things are changing now, and I think people can see that for themselves.
Hey, well, look, that's always good. It's definitely good to have change and back to craft beer in its essence. What's the difference between craft beer and regular beer for those who don't know the difference?
So to tell you guys the difference between craft beer and just regular beer, I always tell the story of mom and pop shops versus your Walmarts and big multi-channel retailers. Just like those people you support in your community, things that are local, things that you can't usually buy in a big store or pick up at the gas station or go across the nation and get, or things that's made by the masses. That's really the big difference between craft beer and just regular beer. So you have your microbreweries and macrobreweries. Your microbreweries are local breweries that are usually in your area. Sometimes they distribute around the region. Most times they just distribute in that specific area or state. They actually can only put out so many batches of beer per year if they go under their tax, if they go over their tax. So there are some breweries out there like Sam Adams, which is a controversial craft beer brewery, but they still meet the requirements for what a craft brewery should be, even though they're pretty large scale. So that's just a big, I guess in a nutshell, what the real big difference between a craft beer and a regular beer would be.
That's perfect. Yeah, because at first I was like, so is it more like on the hipster end? Like this is the cooler type brand versus yeah. So let me ask you this in terms of the Craft Women Connect. Could you give more insight on the mission of the group and kind of, tell what you guys got going on with that?
Yeah, so Craft Women Connect founded that group with a couple of women here in Atlanta who are also in their own respective spaces, influencers and pioneers in the craft beer industry for women and women of color too. We all started this group probably 2019 and then had our first meetup, about 2 years ago. It was about 10 and 12 of us. And then the last big meetup we had right before COVID was like 30, 40 women. So it was crazy. Such a lot of women, so much support. But we really founded the group because we noticed that, when you're in a place and nobody looks like you, I've been doing this for a long time, so it's no big issue for me to go in places comfortably. Yeah. But I want to make sure that other people alike are comfortably able to walk into breweries, comfortably able to walk into spaces that don't look like them and can go in and ask those questions they want to ask and also receive what they're supposed to receive. So we noticed that there wasn't an actual group or anything fulfilling our niche market of women of color in the beer industry who enjoy beer, whether it's home brewing, whether it's just drinking it, whether it's, writing about it, whatever, pairing it and stuff, whatever that space is. So we all got together and was like, hey, let's start a group and, we'll do meetups and we'll just, open ourselves up for that. And then it turned into the pandemic and then we started doing virtual meetups. And then that was just amazing being able to, really just kick back on Sundays, drink it up with the girls. Sometimes we take shots and just women who, have come into this network. We have active Facebook groups and, what we try to do is make sure that we just spearhead what we can and be the voice of women in our community of all types. It's not specifically for Black women. It's just led by Black women because a lot of times nobody shows up for us or gives us any representation. Women in general too, but specifically for us. So, we want to make sure that people who are coming into craft beer have a safe haven and that we're that safe haven. You got questions about stuff, you want to know where to go, anything. I've seen it all in our group and it's just a blessing to, be a part of something like this that, does something great for people around the community, making connections with women and really just letting them know you got a whole group of people behind you who got you. Doing, let us know what time to be there when it is. We show up by 15 deep easily. Nice. Everybody know when we come in the building. So it's been, just amazing.
Yes, and hey, look, I absolutely love that you mentioned that because you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's good to have like a group that you can be with and that you guys can grow together, you know what I mean? Because like you said, you guys kind of birthed this out of nothing. And so, being able to grow it and, where I see it with you, because I know it's going to be bigger than what you can imagine. And so, I really think that that's dope. So let me ask you this in terms of like challenges, what challenges have you faced in this space per se?
This question has been coming up a lot recently because if you haven't heard or read, craft beer industry is kind of under fire right now because a lot of women are coming up and talking about harassment, sexual assault, and things that they've gone through. Fortunately, because I don't work in the craft beer space, I don't come across those challenges. But I guess you could see my space as an influencer and as just a blogger and somebody who's sometimes trying to put local breweries and different people on the map. I used to have challenges of going in places and even just being able to have conversations with people. I feel like when I first got into craft beer, there was like this unspoken thing of like breweries really don't like when people try to come in and like, talk to them or brewers like, about the whole brewing experience. And I went through that in Tampa. So it kind of was challenging there. When I got to Atlanta, it was a whole different type of atmosphere here. It was so welcoming. It was people who were just expecting, like, just asking for me to come places versus like, I'm scared to even walk into certain places and breweries, when I was in Tampa. And stuff because it wasn't welcoming like that. Mind you, still all white dudes. It's not breweries up here are run by Black people. It may be more Black people here, but it's still just like, the experiences I had of just being welcomed in places is very important, especially for us, Black people, people of color, women in general. it's very, very important that people on the other side of the experience are really holding their own for what they're supposed to be providing. So some of the challenges I face, as simple as they are, have not been, you know, great as some other challenges I've seen from some other women out here. I've been in some groups with, you know, some guys and stuff. They call them beard necks or something. I don't know. But something
okay.
like, you know, I got sabotaged by some white guys and stuff just because I posted my face. I never posted my face in there. They liked everything. One day I posted my face in there with a beard and they just like sabotaged me and just like it came out of nowhere. Like I was just shocked. And then somebody else kind of hit me on the side and was like, hey, don't worry about that. That's kind of a normal thing. Just disregard it. So now I don't even like join certain groups because people like you said have challenges. And it makes me now think about why we started Craft Women Connect, why I do what I do to make sure people know I'm not on that side of, you know, working behind the scenes where, you know, I'm probably being mistreated or, you know, there's misogyny and all these things going on, which exists in the industry. But
of course,
I had different experiences when I was in Florida versus when I was in Atlanta because of the welcoming. I haven't been back to many Florida breweries since I've been here in Atlanta. There are a few Florida breweries who I really rock with out of Tampa and St. Pete. But, you know, even now, like, you know, I do a lot of stuff to put other people on. Like, I appreciate just a little love in return. So,
of course,
you know, go where you appreciate it and celebrate it, not where you tolerate it is my policy. And I'm glad that through this experience that I've had, I haven't had those cringy moments and those horrible things that have happened to me in my story. If I did, it would probably make a difference in how much I actually care about what I do in this industry. So that's why, you know, I do what I do what I can with my influence to make sure people know that, you know, craft beer is fun. It's great breweries out here. It's great beer out here. I could tell you some places. It's all types of people that you meet that will really be like, you know, a joy in your life just over a beer.
Yes. And see, you know, what you mentioned is something that, you know, what I really want to kind of push in our culture too. And like a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now is that, you know, I want our community to know that, you know, if this something that somebody outcasting you or pushing you away or they shaming you for doing something that you love, start it on your own. Is, you know, with all the tools and stuff that we got today, there's no reason why, you know, we can't build the Black Wall Street or do a digital Black Wall Street to where, you know, we challenging those media companies and stuff who only uses us for the different labor and stuff that we have, or using us for our talent, using us for our creativity, using us for all these different things, but don't want to show us love or don't want to give us a piece of that pie. So, you know, I applaud you on, you know, you doing what you do, because again, like I said, I know you and I can see it's going to be big, and, you know, you continue to push forward and, you know, being you being authentic in what you do. And, you know, that goes a long way. Let me ask you this, you know, you recently had an event that you went to. Could you tell us about that event? And
So, yeah, recently we actually, Craft Women Connect, we've done like 5 collaboration beers this year. I think 6. I'm just like, we got to stop now because it's been a lot. It's just May. It ain't even June yet. And we've done like 5-6 beers, but it's been incredible. International Women's Day, which was March 8th. Usually breweries around the nation will take that time. And if they have women in the brew house or women who work there, they'll let them have full reins of everything in the back of the house, and you can brew whatever kind of beer you want to, anything like that, and they'll let them have full control, creativity of anything, and then within the next few weeks they'll go ahead and put it on tap or release it in whichever way they do. So we collaborated as Craft Women Connect with 2 local breweries out of Atlanta and Georgia. One of them was Reformation Brewing. They're based out of Canton and Woodstock area, but they have a new location out here in Smyrna, Georgia. And then also the Lost Druid, which is a brewery out in Avondale Estates, which is Decatur side of Georgia. So we had enough women to kind of space between there. Plus it's COVID, so we wanted to make sure everybody was comfortable. So we did just kind of time slots where it would be 2 people max and stuff for a few hours and swap out people. So, you know, it wasn't too many, you know, going on. So, this what I'm drinking right here actually is from our Lost Druid release. It's actually a cocktail inspired beer, and it's from this is the first one from the new series that they're launching called Her Passion Reigns Supreme. So this is a cocktail inspired series. This one is a Caprini It's a Brazilian style tart lime ale. So and I think I'm saying that right, Caparini or Caparini. I don't know. Who cares? They ain't paying this. So it's a Brazilian cocktail, and it's just like a margarita, but 10 times more lime and sugar and sweeter. So I love lime and stuff. Anyway, I love sour style beers. That's one of my favorite styles. And I was very close involved in the process of brewing this, in the process of picking out the style, trying out the cocktail, and actually, you know, sitting down and adding in, you know, sampling mangoes and different things and the citric acid and stuff to get the perfect blend. So to try this and to know that, you know, we mixed up some stuff before to see how it would come out, to actually try it and it come out perfectly just the way, you know, we had it before, it was just amazing. So that's what I'm drinking now. It's about 4.5%. I don't think it's 5%. Oh, it's 5.3, which is actually a pretty high ABV. So
basically a cup and a half would like get you buzzed, right?
Probably wouldn't get too buzzed. Depends on your tolerance though. So.
Well, that'll be me.
Yeah, but it's a nice, great drink for the summer, something nice and light to sip on. Freeze it up, put it in a cocktail because it is a cocktail inspired beer. A lot of people usually like to pair beer up with cocktails and infuse them, or they like to pair it up with foods. So I'm very proud of this one right here. I'm very, very proud.
Hey, look, you definitely should be, you know, being able to, you know, work on it, on that aspect, and it being kind of your baby. And in essence, you know, you helping in on the process. So let me ask you this, and this is my question for you. Can you describe the perfect pour?
The perfect pour. No one's ever asked me that. I hope I answer this for you correctly. Okay. But when it comes to the conversation of pouring beers, and I'm no Cicerone, so I need to test. I'm sorry. Everybody else is taking it around me. It's just like, oh gosh, I'll be laughing. So you have people who tell you maybe you should do it at a slight angle like this, or I actually prefer a rush pour. Okay. Which is a very like rigorous pour. You literally dump your beer in your glass and it just carbonation flows up to the top and it overflows almost, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm losing the beer. But you're actually not. So a thing that usually comes up in conversation is I don't want to feel bloated when I'm drinking my beer, or I feel full when I drink beer. And a lot of times if I was to take a piece of bread or something and drop it right here, it would fizz and the carbonation would come up, because that's what your body does when you're drinking beer. So a lot of times when people are eating stuff that's probably like fried foods, stuff that's bready or things like that, that beer is just going right to your gut and it's soaking up with the food. So it is making you feel a little bit bloated. However, if you rigorously pour your beer and you take all of that carbonation and push it up to the top and you just let it fizz out, and you may feel like you don't have as much beer, but you still have the same amount of beer. You'll actually get you'll have a better feeling after drinking your beer. Some people don't know that. Some people will see you pour your beer and they're like, hey, you poured that wrong, or you did X, Y, Z. As long as there's nothing sticking to my glass because my glass is dirty or clean, that's a bigger deal than how I really pour my beer. I don't think there's a wrong or right way to pour it. When I'm at my restaurant and stuff, I want y'all to make sure y'all pour my beer right and it ain't half head, half beer, like full beer. But I try to make sure people know that about it, because sometimes, you know, you have people who are just talking about things, but they really don't know anything about stuff. So if you want to rigorously pour your IPA so you can enjoy your chicken wings and not be burping and bloating at the same time, go ahead and do that. Later about it.
Hey, well, look, I'm definitely going to take that note. I may need to take that even when I'm drinking a soda too, because
yeah, I probably works the same way too with soda, because I try to stay away from a lot of soda too, because beer is already like a lot of calories, a lot of intake. I've been cutting out for the last month and some change now with just like drinking a lot in general, because a beer gut is sexy, and I've been for years now. It ain't bad, but it ain't cute.
Hey, look, well, I want to say this. Maybe they call that the fuel tank for the love machine. So that's what you. So that's what you need to keep it on. Just say that's what that's for. Awesome. So let me ask you this. You know, in terms of the craft beer industry, where do you see it? Where do you want it to be within the next few years from now? What is your vision?
Well, my vision is, and I think that, you know, when you start to see smoke, there's fire somewhere, but that's not always a bad thing. Fire clears out things and makes way for new stuff to come in. And I think that's what's kind of going on in the industry now. So some of the stuff that, you know, is kind of coming up right now in regards to women who suffer from in silence from, you know, just harassment, abuse, things that, you know, are going on abundantly in the industry behind closed doors. I definitely hope in the next 2 to 3 years that I really actually see some of the lead brewing associations, aka the Brewers Association, really taking hold and responsibility of making sure that there's processes in place, there's training in place for people, and there's representation in particular. Because what's going on now is there are a lot of women who are trying to speak about things and it's kind of just going up in the air. Like some allegations against T.I. or something. It's like, but you know, at least those women have an attorney who can go to them and bat for them and fight for them, and at least there's representation for people in certain industries. We don't have that in craft beer. So these women are telling their story and it's not going anywhere. And some of them can't speak up because they're still working for these breweries and they got to keep food on their table.
Understood.
So, and then also this is something that people love to do. So it's a very, you know, difficult, you know, thing to maneuver, but I think it'll end up happening. So in the next couple of years, this is not even really a race effort. Cause I mean, you know, I'm gonna always be doing stuff to make sure Black people are seen and stuff. That's just day to day. But just as a woman kind of being a part of this industry and seeing things going on, I definitely think it's important for people to have, for this, the Brewers Association to be responsible for putting together processes to make sure that these people who start these breweries in their backyards, if they're really, you know, bumping into the next level of, you know, distributing and doing these other things, or really putting in a brick and mortar into place and having staff that, you know, they're going through training for this kind of stuff. You can't just talk to people in that way and treat them any kind of way, or think that stuff is okay for you to handle it how you feel like it. If your employee tells you, hey, this is happening to me, you stop shop what you're doing and you address that situation in regards to, you know, your employee. Not, oh, feed this person another beer, and then when they're done with their beer, they can go after they just sexually assaulted you. This one. That's happened tons of times.
Oh yeah. Look, I've been in a couple of restaurants and seen some issues before, but hey, hopefully, you know, change will come. And, you know, I'm pretty sure in some way, you know, you may be a part of that change too, or, you know, you are the change, you know, in terms of speaking out on these different things. And so, you know, it's definitely something that I look for in your journey. And, you know, it's been an honor interviewing you and showcasing your success within this space. And is there anything that you want to leave the audience with today?
Well, thank you again for having me. I appreciate it. If there's anything I could leave the audience is, you know, try something new. A lot of people think they don't like beer, but I know there's a beer out there for everybody. So I just say, you know, sophisticated people like sophisticated things. If, you know, you want to learn more about something, go in and learn more about it, even if you have to teach yourself. I taught myself a lot of stuff with craft beer. I didn't have anybody standing over my shoulder telling me to pick this style out. I Maya Angelou, my local beer store, and literally went one beer to the next on the whole aisle, all the way down to hundreds of beers till I figured out what I liked. And then, you know, just kind of learn from there. So, you know, try to learn something new. And, you know, if it's a passion, pursue it. And if it turns to work, don't do that, because it won't be passion for you anymore. It'll burn you thin. So that's why I don't work, because at the end of the day, if everything was to burn down around me, I still want to come home to a good. So that's why I practice. So I appreciate you for having me on here and just taking some time, you know, just to give me a little love and to, you know, highlight what I have going on. It's very much appreciated.
Of course. Don't mention it. Hey, look, you know you fam, and I'm going to be highlighting your success as much as you let me. So you ain't got to worry about that.
Thank you.
What's going on, guys? This is Sir Clarence with Ultra Black News, where we aim to highlight all things good in the Black community. So if you're new to our channel, make sure that you hit that like button, make sure that you subscribe, and then make sure that you share this with friends and family members. Make sure to tag them in the post as well if this is great content that you enjoy and that you believe that they will enjoy as well.